Imagine a world filled with wickedness and moral decay, where humans desire inappropriate relations with angels and daughters become pregnant by their own father. Today we will explore the captivating story of Lot, a man whose choices placed him at the center of extraordinary events. Brace yourself to witness the righteous judgment and wrath of God culminating in the complete destruction of an entire civilization. But before we delve into today's content, we kindly ask you to show your support by liking this video, subscribing to our channel and enabling notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Lot's story is first mentioned in the book of Genesis, starting from chapter 11. The biblical account of Lot begins with uncertainty surrounding the origin and significance of his name. Some scholars believe that his name may symbolize a covering or veil, suggesting the importance of presenting oneself in a favorable light before others. According to the Bible, after his father's passing, Lot left his hometown of Ur in Chaldea and embarked on a journey to Haran. He was accompanied by his grandfather Terah, his uncle Abraham, and Sarai. When Abraham later left Haran following Terah's death, Lot chose to follow him to the land of Canaan. However, during a severe famine in Canaan, Lot and Abraham decided to seek refuge in Egypt. Unfortunately, they encountered trouble there, as Pharaoh was deceived and expelled Abraham and Sarai from the land. As a result, Lot returned to Canaan alongside them. During this time, both Abraham and Lot experienced great prosperity. Their flocks and herds grew so much that the land they occupied became too small for both of them, leading to conflicts among their shepherds. The contrast between Abraham and Lot in the biblical story is mainly seen through the choices they make when faced with opportunities and challenges during their journeys. Abraham stands out for his obedience and trust in God's promises, which shapes the way he lives his life. His faith guides his decisions, and he becomes a remarkable example of someone who prioritizes God's will over his own earthly desires. Let's remember the episode of the 3 mysterious visitors in Mamre. One day, while sitting at the entrance of his tent under the shade of the Mamre oaks, Abraham suddenly becomes aware of 3 men standing before him. The intensity of the account suggests that these visitors possess an extraordinary nature, as Abraham quickly humbles himself in reverence before them. In that moment, he displays exceptional hospitality by inviting them to stay and rest, offering water to wash their feet, and providing food to replenish their strength. It is during this encounter that Abraham and Sarah receive astonishing and life-changing news. One of the visitors reveals that despite Sarah's advanced age, she will have a child within the next year. This divine promise aligns with God's earlier assurance to Abraham that he would have numerous descendants as countless as the stars in the sky. The account of the visit to Mamre not only showcases Abraham's exemplary hospitality, but also reveals the intimate and personal relationship between God and his faithful servant. On the other hand, Lot appeared to be increasingly swayed by the allure of worldly temptations and allured by seemingly prosperous opportunities. This led Abraham and Lot to make the decision to part ways. When they separated, Abraham graciously allowed Lot to choose the land first. Abraham's choice to separate from Lot, with the goal of preserving harmony and avoiding conflicts, demonstrates the spiritual maturity of this patriarch, who values peace and unity with God over material disputes. Lot opted for the fertile plains near the Jordan River, close to the Dead Sea, captivated by the region's beauty and abundance. He allowed himself to be influenced primarily by material considerations. While this decision is understandable from a human perspective, it highlights Lot's susceptibility to the seductions of the world, contrasting with Abraham's unwavering spiritual resolve. After the separation, Lot settled in Sodom, where he quickly became entangled in local affairs and seemed to have attained a prominent social position. However, the Bible portrays the inhabitants of Sodom as exceedingly wicked, a situation that deeply troubled Lot. In the New Testament, the Apostle Peter describes how Lot was tormented day after day by the wickedness he witnessed in the city. While Lot resided in Sodom, a conflict unfolded involving kings from Mesopotamia who defeated the cities of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Zoar. As a result, all the possessions of Sodom were looted, and many inhabitants, including Lot, were taken captive, When Abraham learned about these events, he organized a rescue mission. Under the cover of darkness, Abraham's forces engaged in battle with the enemy army, successfully defeating them and reclaiming Lot's belongings and his family. It was during this incident that Abraham encountered Melchizedek. Despite the war and the dire circumstances in Sodom, Lot chose not to leave the city, and his story continues within the Bible. The narrative progresses with the arrival of angels in Sodom. The city remained steeped in chaos and immorality. The divine presence amidst such corruption emphasizes God's concern for the wickedness of humanity. This aligns with the message found in Jeremiah 23:24, which highlights God's attentiveness to the cries resulting from injustice. The intervention of the divine in human affairs demonstrates God's commitment to righteousness and his willingness to take action against evil. The Lord declares his intention to investigate the sins of Sodom, thus revealing his justice and his rejection of iniquity. However, faced with the overwhelming wickedness, God ultimately decides to bring destruction upon the city. The biblical account highlights the extreme wickedness of the people of Sodom, particularly evident in their mistreatment of the angels sent by the Lord. The men of Sodom, in their sinful behavior, desired to engage in sexual acts with the angels, a significant factor leading to the city's eventual destruction. Amidst this turmoil, Lot attempted to calm the situation in a controversial manner by offering his own daughters to the men of the city, a decision that reveals his weakness and the corrupting influence of the city upon him. During this critical moment, the Bible portrays Abraham's courageous intercession before the Lord, demonstrating his sincere desire for divine understanding and justice. Aware of the impending destruction of Sodom, Abraham dares to question God about the possibility of sparing the righteous individuals amidst the wicked. This bold dialogue echoes the exhortation found in James 5:16, emphasizing the power and effectiveness of the prayers of a righteous person. The narrative continues with the audacious negotiation between Abraham and God, where Abraham boldly questions the potential for sparing the city on account of the righteous. This context aligns with Psalm 86:15, which declares, "But you, Lord, are a compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness." This verse highlights God's willingness to listen to the pleas of his servants and his readiness to act with compassion in response to fervent intercession. The story not only showcases God's compassion, but also emphasizes the importance of persistently seeking justice and mercy. When God made the decision to destroy the cities of the plain, including Sodom and Gomorrah, a significant event is recounted in the Bible. Prior to the destruction of Sodom, Lot and his family were rescued by two angels sent by the Lord. This act of deliverance was a result of divine mercy and God's commitment to the covenant established with Abraham. Confronted with the relentless insistence of Sodom's inhabitants to capture the angels, they were ultimately struck with blindness. The angels then instructed Lot to take his entire family out of the condemned city. Lot hesitated to leave Sodom, requiring the angels to forcibly lead him away. During their escape, the family was warned not to look back. However, Lot's wife disobeyed this command and was transformed into a pillar of salt. This transformation serves as a dramatic representation of the consequences that arise when we disregard God's guidance. Lot, although spared from the imminent destruction, is not exempt from the moral repercussions of his choices. His decision to dwell near Sodom exposed his family to a corrupt environment, and the story reveals Lot's struggle to maintain his moral integrity amidst the prevailing wickedness. Lot's struggle resonates with the challenges faced by Christians today, who often find themselves in societies permeated with values contrary to the teachings of the Bible. Following their departure from Sodom, Lot and his two daughters found themselves in a state of fear, seeking refuge in a small town for their safety. They took shelter in a cave located in a mountainous area, revealing their reluctance to fully trust in God's plan. This attitude contrasts with the unwavering faith demonstrated by Abraham throughout his journey, even in the face of uncertainties and challenges. Lot's decision to seek refuge in a cave can be seen as a representation of the human tendency to isolate oneself when faced with adversity. The cave serves not only as a physical shelter, but also symbolizes emotional and spiritual seclusion. This raises questions about how traumatic experiences can affect a person's ability to fully engage in life and relationships. It is within this setting that a distressing event occurs, concerned for their future and feeling isolated without the prospect of finding husbands. Lot's daughters devise a plan. Fearing for their safety, they intoxicate their father and, driven by a lack of understanding of moral and ethical norms, each of them engages in sexual relations with Lot on consecutive nights, seeking to conceive offspring from this incestuous union. As a result, Moab and Ben-Ammi are born, giving rise to the nations of the Moabites and Ammonites respectively. These peoples later became a source of trouble for the Israelites throughout biblical history. The biblical narrative of Lot continues, shedding light on his complex and controversial relationship with his daughters following the events in Sodom. However, after this point, the story of Lot remains largely unexplored. It is unclear whether he managed to rebuild his life or spent his remaining days in the cave where the events with his daughters occurred. It is worth noting that the Apostle Peter mentions Lot in his second epistle, specifically in chapter 278, making reference to the episode of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. In the Gospel of Luke in the New Testament, Jesus refers to Lot in a context related to the end times, recalling the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and Lot's deliverance. This account serves as a reminder to be prepared and obedient to God's commands in anticipation of the future. The biblical story shows that Lot had the opportunity to learn from his uncle Abraham, who was renowned as a man of faith. However, unlike Abraham, Lot did not prioritize faith, but rather relied on his own perceptions and desires. This self-centered approach led to numerous hardships and left lasting wounds on his family. Lot's story serves as an illustration of the consequences that arise when choices are driven more by personal preferences than by faith and divine guidance. Valuable lessons for the present-day Christian life can be gleaned from this account. The tale of Sodom and Gomorrah underscores the significance of making ethical choices even when faced with societal pressures. In his letter to the Romans, the Apostle Paul urges believers not to conform to the patterns of this world, but to be transformed by renewing their minds. Romans 12:2. This passage highlights the need for contemporary Christians to stand firm in their faith and moral values, regardless of external influences. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you found the video enjoyable and meaningful. If you found value in this content, I kindly ask for your support by subscribing to our channel so that you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Please share this video with your family and friends, give it a thumbs up, and leave your thoughts in the comments section. Your engagement helps the video reach more people, and together we can enlighten more minds and deepen our understanding. Thank you for being here, and may God bless you.